Hey, 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 how's everyone doing? It's your girl Lisa, and we're back with Dinero Twins, episode 4. Hey, twin.
Hi, twin. Welcome, everyone. We're very excited to have you.
Very excited to have you. And we're back with a really exciting episode. We're going to be talking about financial literacy. OMG.
Yes. Every time some people hear the word financial literacy, they're like, what is that? I don't understand it. What exactly are you trying to say? So, we're
hmm
going to break down a little bit of its meaning and what it means to us, right?
Yeah. And why is something that we all should be aware of, but not only be aware of, but should have applying it to our lives, right? So why don't we go ahead and get started, twin? I know we have so many good things in store. And the first
Yes.
thing that we want to talk about is what is financial literacy and what does financial literacy mean to us? Okay. So I'm going to have my twin take it away with this one.
Yeah. So, listen, financial literacy is something that we are all been cheated from the very beginning for the most part. So it's supposed to be the education of money, right? How does money work? How does it the skills that you need in order to like better budget your money and save your money and invest your money, everything money related on a personal level. But it seems like, we really don't learn this thing in school. We tend to like fly through all the other subjects in elementary and middle school and high school, but somehow financial literacy gets left out, which is probably the most important thing we all need to know as young adults so that we can start a life of adulthood on the right path. So, what does financial literacy mean to you, twin?
Well, financial literacy to me means changing your life. And what I mean by that, even though that sounds so dramatic, it really means to me just kind of like understanding the concepts that would help you make better money decisions, right? I mean, for us, if you deal with money, which is pretty much the entire population, right? You work for
Yeah.
money, you receive it, you exchange it, you need to learn how money works. Because I always say this, if you don't control your money will control you, right? And it is just fully understanding how can I manage it correctly? How can I invest it? How can I save it? How can I take care of my money so my money can take care of me when I most need it? That's what financial literacy means to me. And I know that that encompasses many areas of financial literacy, but essentially is the knowledge of personal finance, is the understanding of it, and now the application of it as well.
Yes, well said. This is why I wanted you to explain it first because you are the financial expert. And you put it so beautifully with those, words, because again, it seems like a lot of folks get overwhelmed by the term, but it really is a simple term to understand.
Yeah.
And most importantly, is a term that, has so much weight on it that we all really need to just spend time focusing on.
Yeah.
Um, so to me, financial literacy is all of the words you said, plus, making sure that you are taking in as much information as possible. One thing that I always do is try and understand how inflation affects inflation
Mm,
index, right? So we hear
really big one.
inflation and we're like, oh, what does that mean? Is that just a term that I hear on the news? Well, it means that when you go to the supermarket, like you're doing now, and you're food shopping, you're obviously noticing that there's a lot more money being ditched out, right? The produce is not costing the same. Everything is going up in price. Things that were costing you X a year ago or 2 years ago are now Y, and it looks like it's not slowing down, right? So when I think of inflation, I think about, if I'm paying 6 or 10% more for what I'm buying, am I making that same percentage increase with my income? Right? Am I
Mm,
making 6 to 10% more money every week, every month to be able to pay for these things that are going up in price?
yep.
Um, so, it's just part of our daily lives, no matter how you look at it. So I always like to tell people, just educate yourself, learn a new term every chance you get, and then learn how that term affects you and your pocket, individually.
Absolutely. Wow, twin. That was very powerful. And I also want to add on to that because I feel like, financial literacy or anything that includes finances can be very intimidating for people. And when
Right.
something is intimidating, I mean, think about it when we were in school, right? Like least favorite subject was math, and I think it was math for many of us, right? But
Yeah.
and it's funny because my least favorite subject was math, but now I'm in the industry and I, deal with numbers and things like that. But it's funny how the world works. But with that being said, when something is intimidating for you, when you don't understand it, you shy away from it, right? So the same thing applies to a lot of people. It's like is making the conversation simple for people to understand and showing people that personal finance for me may look different for you, twin, right? It
Yeah.
may look different for everyone else. It's not a one size fits all when it comes to finances. It may look different. You start later, you start sooner. Doesn't matter. The point is that you start. The point is
Yes.
that you understand it. Don't shy away from it. Understand it. Even if it's looking for resources that simplify the information that applies more to you where you're at, because some people can be advanced, some people are just beginning, right?
Yeah.
But there's so many resources. It's just helping people make sense of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's really, really well said. So let's get right into our second point. So why is financial literacy necessary?
Wow. I mean,
I
I
mean,
can't
because
think of
go
I
ahead.
can't think of reason why it's not necessary, right?
Right.
So it's like it's kind of like to me, I feel like financial literacy should not be an option. It should be a priority because like I mentioned earlier, if you deal with money, you need to understand how money works. And I feel like people shy away from that because they think, oh, like it's fine. It's just it's something that I would do later, I will leave it for tomorrow and things like that. Tomorrow never comes. You're never quote unquote ready. Okay. You
Yes.
have to, in other words, put yourself in a position where you are dealing with it, or you're learning about it. Because for example, look at when the pandemic happened,
Right.
right? We had over 44 million people that applied for unemployment. And the numbers now, and it's so crazy that we're having this conversation because literally yesterday I was, working on a PowerPoint and I was working on some statistics that I'm about to share with people on, where are we as an economy now
Yeah.
before as compared to where we were before the pandemic, right? So the numbers
Okay.
look so much scary. The average household of debt is going up. It was around 16,000. Now we're close to 17,000. The average household has in credit card debt,
Wow.
not including mortgage, not including
Yeah.
personal loans. We're talking about just credit card debt, right? We only have one in every four Americans actually have, I'm sorry, one in every four Americans have little to no savings at all. Um, and we also have about 55, and I'm looking at my notes. 55% of Americans are in danger to having little to nothing for retirement.
That's very
So the
scary.
numbers are, I mean, it's insane. And I also was reading an article from RAND.org, very great organization that does a lot of research. And it shows that in our Black and Brown communities, it takes us 10 years to bounce back to the type of income that we had before a recession or any of that nature.
Wow.
Yes.
That's
I mean, I get
crazy.
goosebumps talking about it.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Wow. I mean, the numbers don't lie, people, and this is why, although some people may not feel like they're being impacted directly,
Yeah.
we are somehow impacted because if we lay in these communities, if we have families that still in these communities, we need to make sure that we're not only helping ourselves, but we're looking to educate other people and helping them understand why you should also be financially literate.
Yeah, listen, that's a good point because, I feel like us as, Black and brown communities, we don't talk about money. This just doesn't ever happen, right? I don't know if it's a matter of like pride where we don't want people around us to know what we have or we don't have, right? But we do a disservice for those of us that do know a little bit and understand how money works by not having, a family meeting or family roundtable, as I call it, where you at least get a couple of people in your family and saying, hey, you don't gotta tell me what you have and you don't have, but let's talk about, these numbers, these real life statistics that are affecting our community, because I might not know what you have or you don't have or what you owe, but I just want you to understand the power of understanding money and understanding, how to get out of certain situations and maybe resources that are out there that a lot of people don't know about. I know that student loans is a big thing for us, right? We have
Mhm.
huge student loan debts. And now, there's a couple of organizations that are working with, getting student loan removed or paid,
Yeah,
or
forgiveness.
forgiveness, giving away grants. So there's so much information out there, but I always feel like the families need at least one person to take the lead and to be like, hey, I want to be that person. I want to be able to share what I find with you guys, because it really should work in tangent, like as a unit where everyone's trying to be, free themselves from this economic rut that a lot of people are in. So it's a lot, but I think that, this is why we have to have these conversations and get the
Hmm.
information out there.
Absolutely, absolutely, twin. And what is your point of view, right? When it comes to the same conversation, why is financial literacy necessary?
I mean, it's all in all, right? Like, I don't want to spend, and I know plenty of families, I'm a first generation American, so I come from a family that's an immigrant family. They're not taught this when they get here, right? They either come with limited education from their country, they're here as a working class, just trying to pay the bills, just trying to raise a family. So the focus is not really learning about money, it's survival pretty much.
Yeah.
So we learn that survival skill as well, but then for us that are doing a little better than our parents, right? Because we're now born in this country, we speak the language, we have careers. What we do is, and there's numbers on this, I don't have them handy, but statistically, first generation Americans usually end up being in more debt and have zero to very minimal increase in wealth to their parents, because I think culturally we're like, okay, we are making more money, we're living better than our parents, so we're going to spend more money. So to
We're
me,
gonna
it's
increase
like,
our lifestyle.
we're going to increase our lifestyles. We're going to move out of the hood. We're going to buy nicer cars. We're going to go on vacation twice a year, something
Hmm.
that our parents couldn't give us. But then now we're setting ourselves up because we're still not doing it right. Right. We're just, whatever comes in, we're spending. Whatever we don't have, we're still spending with credit.
Yep.
So why is it important to me? Because, I want to see my family, my legacy kind of leave assets behind, be financially comfortable, where we all don't have to work till we're 65 to retire. My goal is to have my siblings, be good in another 5 or 10 years. We all have income generating assets like real estate and businesses and things like that, so that our kids can now be like, you know what, my grandma got us here, right? My parents worked hard
Yeah.
enough to learn how to manage money and invest, and now I'm second generation American. I can sit back, and not sit back, but like, I can enjoy the fruits of my parents' labor and grow that wealth even further, not
Wow.
just spend it, which is typically kind of what happens.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was so powerful. And it's funny because when you were talking, I like an image of, our white counterparts. In this case, let's say, I've seen so many movies that they have, like a room and they have like pictures and portraits of like, their grandparents, their, and just many family members that pretty much not inherited, but changed the the economic structure for the family,
Of
right? Past
course.
inheritance, created businesses. I think of the Rockefellers because the Rockefellers are their
Yeah.
story is extremely fascinating. How they were able to this day, 6 generations later, they have a family bank or a family trust that 150 members of the family are getting paid from that
You
every
see?
single month. That's insane to me. So when you were talking, it's kind of like I think most in our culture, we care so much about appearing rich, keeping up with
Yeah.
the Joneses. Oh, the neighbor got a nice car. Oh, I got to get that car, right? The neighbor's doing this, I got to do this, right? So you're focused on the wrong things.
Yeah.
Compared to getting those generational
Plan.
assets that you can get, and businesses, and having them pay for you and the generations to come. I mean,
Yeah.
hello.
And so listen, it's so important. Like, that's where my head is at, but it was not always there. We obviously had to go through the process of learning these things, understanding these things. And, every time we talk about, culturally, what's holding us back, we have to be also like honest with ourselves. What is holding us back? A lot of it is behavior, right? Like how we behave with
Mhm.
money, how we spend money, what we do know and what we don't know about money. So it's like,
Yes.
it's all really within our control. I say for the most part, because I know there's some people that are in really tough situations. So I don't want to say that it's everybody has the same opportunity, but
Mhm.
you know, people have the control. There's the self motivating factor, and there's self education. Right now, you guys, you know, everyone has the tools that they need to learn things for free, just like we're doing right now. You know, just takes a conversation.
Yeah.
So it's more like, you know, getting up and making the choice.
Wow. And that leads right into our next conversation, which is what is that one common myth that we need to unlearn when it comes to money?
So for me, it was, you know, why should there be a focus in money management when we have no money? And I've
Mm,
heard this over and over, and it would be like, what? What do you mean? Like,
yeah.
you don't want to learn about credit card interest rates and how that affects you when you swipe? You don't want to learn about, you know, inflation, like your increase at work versus inflation prices going up every year. You don't want to learn about, you know, economics,
Mm,
demands, you know, all these
yeah.
other factors that are like important to day-to-day life. So when someone says, you know, I don't have money, so I don't got the time to learn about money management, it's like, well, you know, you don't need money to learn about it. There's plenty of people that are on very limited incomes that know how to manage their money to the dollar. And
Mhm.
I'll tell you a funny story. So when I worked at my first hotel, there was one housekeeping lady that worked as a housekeeper, cleaning rooms. Back then, she probably made like $14 an hour, maybe less, like 13, $14 an hour because she was part of the union. This lady had like 5 rental properties in Queens, New York. And she would be like, I'm
Wow.
poor. I clean rooms for a living, but I manage every dollar I get. I go on vacation just once a year back home to my country. I save every dollar I have. My kids all work. We all pool our money together. And payday, I'm like, you give me this much. You give me this much. I'm going to put this much towards our
Wow.
saving fund. And every year we're going to buy a house. And listen, when I heard that lady speak, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Like, is she bluffing? And listen, it was totally accurate. She did so much with what she had just because she planned so well, and she knew where every dollar she made was going. And I think
Mm,
that was like a really eye-opening thing for me because again, that's not what I saw growing up. It was like,
mhm.
oh, we got an extra check this
Penny
week.
pinching.
We're going out, you know, we're going to the club, or we're getting an extra check this week. I'm going to Macy's. Like, it's not usually what you hear. So it's not about what you have, is how much you can stretch it out, you know, to put it to
Yeah.
work for you. So
It's so funny because it's actually really true. Like a lot of people think, well, I don't make a lot of money. I can't do anything about with the money I make. No, you have the money. You just don't know how to manage it, right? Because if you have an income coming in, if you have, money to go out every single weekend, you have money to build
right.
generational wealth, right? To focus on how can I create, income producing assets. You have it. It's just your priorities and your focus are not there yet, right? And this is why we want to stress the importance of that. Um, wow, that was powerful, Dwayne. One of the things that I have to say for me is I heard this growing up, and I still hear this every now and then. And every time I hear it, I tell people to stop saying that money is the root of all evil.
Oh, yeah. I hate
Oh
that.
my, every time I hear this, I'm like, what are you saying? First of all, we have to stop personifying the dollar. Okay. We got to stop personifying money. Money does not have any emotions. Money
Right.
doesn't think. Money doesn't feel. Money doesn't do anything, right? It's
It's
just
a
a tool.
tool. It's a
That's
tool.
what it is a tool. Now, because money, I consider money to be kind of like the car. Now we're the driver.
Yeah.
We tell money what to do. Okay. So if money exposes people, it's not that the money did it, it's because maybe that person had something within them that they were just waiting for, a little bit of money or whatever the case is to expose who they really are. I
Right.
really feel like money exposes people. I don't really think money changes,
Always.
it exposes you. But we
Always.
have to stop personifying the money because it doesn't feel anything. It's not good, it's not evil.
Yeah.
If anything, I feel like having money can help people make or do extraordinary things in our world, right?
Right.
It helps people create businesses, it helps people create jobs. that comes because there's businesses. It
Yeah.
helps people give back to charity. It helps people create, housing and living. It does
Mhm.
so much if it's in the right hands.
Of
But that's
course.
not say that money makes people do evil things. No, it has to do with the person that's driving it, that's driving the money. If you have ulterior motives, if you have, a dark path that you want to take, that's up to you. Let's not blame money. And I feel like because people say that, it makes people afraid of having money because it feels
Right.
like, oh, if I have money, I'm going to turn evil. That's not the
Yeah.
case. That's not the case, right? If anything, you should want to have money. Okay. And I always tell people, think abundantly. There's nothing wrong with wanting money. Money
Yeah.
helps people do really great things. It helps people, give their family the life that they never thought that they will because they didn't have that life growing up, right? It helps you give back. It helps you create opportunities, right? So I feel like we need to stop thinking that money is evil. It's not. It's not an end, it's a tool, right? We're the driver. If you become greedy from having, money or wanting more, then that's because that's just who you were and it
Yeah.
exposes. But don't come blaming money.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I've heard that over and over again as well. And I always say that that's used as an excuse too.
Hmm.
So it's almost like brainwashing in our poor communities to be
I
like, don't
agree.
aspire for more because
I
you're gonna
agree.
become a bad person. Just aspire to be okay, right? Go be this, go to college, just get a regular job, get into a union, work quietly, save your money, come home, call it a day. Like, don't aspire to too much and don't be too big and don't be too grand with your wishes
Yeah,
because that's going to make you a bad person once you get to that level. So I just feel
unfortunately.
like it's a little bit of brainwashing as well to
I
like keep people from getting that abundance mentality.
see people
Because
poor.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And because if you can't see it, you're not going to expect to wish that on your kids, right? Or on your
Yeah.
grandkids. You're going to only want as far as you can see for them. So it's a really bad saying. I've heard this over and over again. And I'm like, I know plenty of people that have a lot of money that are great people,
Mhm.
great, great people. First, you won't even know that they have the money, which is
Exactly.
pretty, pretty admirable. That tells me that they're not in it to show off. And then secondly, they're making huge impact with the money that they do have. So I've seen both sides. So I do understand that, money is not a person. Money is just a tool that's being used for
Cool.
sure. Yep.
I agree. I've seen both sides of the coin. I've seen money, people having money and just turn greedy. And I've seen people that, are millionaires and have a lot of money, but they're super humble. You pass them on the street and you won't even know,
Right.
and then the things that they've done to impact the world is, I mean, it will be here for years, centuries to come. So I
Yeah.
agree with you. It's like, it's not the money, it's the driver, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
which leads to our next conversation, right? How can we feel, and I feel like we kind of already hinted at this, but how can we feel that being financially literate can help change, generations to come?
Yeah. So like I mentioned before, it's just a matter of if everyone in your family or in your circle understands the importance of building wealth, then and they value the money and they value what has been created, then it would be more likely that when they become adults or they are in charge of that wealth, they'll take better care of it, right? So like you said, the Rockefellers, right? At some point, Rockefeller senior thought that, you know what, I'm going to build this empire, but I want to make sure my kids and my grandkids and my great grandkids are all not just taken care of, but they are protecting the wealth that I worked for, that they're
Mhm.
growing the wealth that I worked for. So it's a mindset, is a mentality, it's actions, right? Obviously, it's learning because now you got to learn about how to protect your money in a trust, how to
Mm.
legally set certain things up so that when you do go, because we're all going to go at some point, the money doesn't stay in la la land in some bank account that your kid is going to go and just pull out and spend, so there's a lot of things that are make up that, but I think that the goal is to have your money live as long as it can, even before you're even after you're gone. So
Yes, that's the goal, right? Leaving a legacy.
Yes.
And I feel like a lot of times like people think, well, my parents didn't do this for me. What do I care about doing it, for my kids or generations to come? I think that's a really selfish mentality because you can't blame your parents for what they didn't know. But if you have the opportunity to get educated on something, or you just already know about personal finance, and most times you're ahead of the game, right?
Right.
Well, for me, for my family, I always say that I didn't come from money, but money will come from me, right?
Yeah.
My next generations, my kids, the generations to come, I want to, follow the same example that the Rockefellers did because now I know better. So
Yeah.
with that being said, I can help people in my family, but I can also make sure that I'm passing on, assets. I'm passing on stocks or real estate. I'm passing on businesses, right? I'm passing on things that I feel like would help enhance the my kids' future, my grandkids, etc. Right? Because although my parents didn't do it for me, I know if they had the opportunity to do so,
They
they would
would.
have.
They
I
would
don't
have.
want my kids to figure out how they're going to pay for school. I want school to be taken care of for them because
Right.
I've seen other communities do it. The
Right.
Asian community,
Right.
they don't, their kids don't pay for school. The kids have their school paid for and they have their wedding paid for.
Yeah.
I want my kids to experience that because I want that to be a tradition in our family where they're also going to be doing the same thing for their kids and making sure that they're setting up their kids, and why not set up our kids to win, right?
Right.
I feel like that's something that we should do because it's going to help us keep the money in the family and ultimately give people a better idea of this is my parents did this is how I want to follow my parents' footsteps, and I want to make sure that I'm building it correctly, not just with my generation in mind, but with the next ones to come.
Absolutely. Very well said. Listen, and then we have to stop glorifying, poverty.
Yeah.
Not in those words, but like, no, I don't want my kids to, I had to work full time and go to college full time, or the not college, but like my trade school full time. And so I was out of the house 16 hours a day. I was in trade school for 8 hours, and then I had a night job for 8 hours for a whole straight year. That cannot be good for anyone, right?
Mhm.
So I've already had to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want my girls having to go through that.
Yeah.
Even though we're like, well, if I did it, they can do it too. No, they shouldn't do it, right? They should be able to have the extra time so that they can learn financial literacy because it's not being taught in schools, right?
Mhm.
You want them to have the extra time so they can learn about stocks, so they can learn about investing, so they can learn other things that are is going to help them in adult life. So I don't want my kids to go through the same struggle. So when I hear parents say, I did it, well, they should do it too. Well, you did it because you didn't have a choice. You have a choice to make it better for them. So why not? Right.
That's so true. And I also want to add this because I feel like this is something that also that people forget about. But for example, life insurance is also one of the most affordable way to pass on generational wealth. So that's why for me, I'm young. I'm racking up on as much life insurance as I can afford
Yes.
because I want to make sure that my kids are set. And of course, the trust, all of that set up, extremely important for people to know about.
Yes. Yes. Lisa. So on that note, our dear beloved financial professional, I know that you have amazing products, amazing products on your website that can help folks get at least started with their financial literacy journey, right? And these are free products. So why don't you tell us about what you offer? Give the folks listening, a location where they can go and get these resources. And yeah,
Absolutely.
let's share the information.
Yes, so I do offer the legacy creators. We offer free financial literacy workshops. These workshops include topics on how you can increase your cash flow, how you can manage debt to get out of debt in a much shorter time frame, how to build an emergency fund, life insurance. We talk about retirement planning, estate planning, so will,
Woo!
trust. We talk about it, right? Adding additional sources of income. So if you're interested on, at least getting started somewhere, or even if you find yourself a little bit more advanced, I still feel like these workshops are for you. You can choose the one that you want to attend. The workshops are hosted every single day.
Nice.
Um, and for those of you that are watching this on YouTube, you can click the link on the description. We're gonna add the link there. And then for those of you that are listening to this, then I want you to go back to our YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe,
Yes.
okay? And then you'll be able to get access to the link to the workshops, okay? But the workshops are free and they're hosted every single day.
That's amazing. That's commitment right there, girl. You're committed to the cause. You're like, I'm not just talking about it.
Committed.
I'm doing it on a daily basis. So you guys take advantage of that. You know, this is for you. This is for you to be able to, expand your wealth knowledge and your financial
Mhm.
literacy techniques. So I'm very excited. I'm going to go on the website too and see what you got.
Yay. I'm super excited. And I definitely, we had such a powerful call. I know Twin can agree with me. For those of you that are watching this for the first time, don't be your last. We're going to be posting a video every single Wednesday, every
Yes.
single Wednesday, every single Wednesday.
Every
Okay.
Wednesday.
We have an episode coming out. So whether you're watching us or you're listening to this, make sure that you're subscribed, that you leave us great comments, leave us great support, because we are super excited to be adding value to you every single Wednesday.
Every single Wednesday. Shameless plug. This has been an awesome conversation, Lisa. So listen, again, guys, take advantage. This is just free resources for you. We are very, very committed to making an impact, to sharing what we know from all areas of business and money. So that's what we're here for.
Yes, yes. So see you guys real soon. Until next time.
Until next time. Adios, twin.
Bye, Twin.
Thanks for tuning in. We hope you found great value in the content shared. Make sure to tune in again every Wednesday and to also share our podcast link with anyone who can benefit from the information. Till next time, adios.